What is up, Steelers Nation? Thank you so much for jumping on to another episode of All Steelers Talk. I'm Noah Strackbine, joined always by my main man, Jacob Punturi. Find us on youtube.com/All Steelers Talk. Check us out anywhere you get your podcast. The Pittsburgh Steelers, well, they're waiting for Sunday. Big game against the Bills ahead of them. Will they have Aaron Rodgers out there? It's not looking great. We've got the latest on the Steelers quarterback, what he said today, and why it is very alarming on top of a missed practice. That is certainly not the way they wanted to start this week. Plus, we'll dive into what's more likely, how the Pittsburgh Steelers should approach the quarterback situation this week, and much, much more. It's not a bad day in Pittsburgh, to be honest with you. It is giving me, we are all going to meet the Wizard of Oz tomorrow. But besides that vibe, which I kind of like, it's a good one here in the Berg. How you feel, my friend?
I'm feeling good. I can't lie, can't front about it. Tomorrow's a good family day up ahead. So I'm looking forward to that. In the midst of this, we got this lousy Pittsburgh Steelers team to cover. What's up with that? But no, I'm feeling good. I was telling Noah, for anyone who's viewing today, I got my nice cardigan on that also has a hood, and I feel kind of like I'm a Jedi. Noah called me a wrestler. It's picnic pack. I'll let you decide what the look is, but I'm very excited about this sweater. And if you asked my wife, she would have also said that I am very excited because she heard me talk about it a bunch last night.
He's just been laying it out. I'm going to rock that sweater tomorrow. That's a good sweater that I'm going to rock. Let me ask, as the man cooking for tomorrow, did you get a head start today? You ready to feed the feast tomorrow? Feed the beast that is a family?
Yeah, we're ready to go. You got to get the prep work in, and that's the key to life, is the key to Thanksgiving dinner. It's the key for the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's preparation, right? It's putting the work in beforehand. And yes, we certainly got the ball rolling. My lovely dogs were very helpful in cleaning up any scraps that we dropped in those preparations. So shout out to my wonderful puppies. But yeah, we're rocking and rolling. We're ready for tomorrow.
Beautiful. I love it. And that was a perfect segue, whether you meant to do it or not, into the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback situation that is Aaron Rodgers and where they go at quarterback this week. Rodgers did not participate in practice today at the start of what looks like could be another missed week for the Steelers starting quarterback. Rodgers was not out there at all. It was Mason Rudolph and Will Howard all day long to start the week. This comes after he was limited in practice the last 2 days of last week. So if you didn't play Sunday, I'm looking at this, and maybe you look at it differently, as a step backwards, that Rodgers took a at least participation step in the wrong direction, and now you're questioning how fast he can get back onto a moving horse. Now, Aaron Rodgers, in Mike Tomlin's eyes, did not play last week because he did not have enough preparation, because he was not prepared to be out there for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they did not feel good enough about it. Well, to start the week without practicing sure feels like we're headed towards the same destination here. On the other side of that, you've got Aaron talking after practice and saying that he feels better than last week, but he still can't take a snap. Again, feels like Aaron Rodgers is headed in the wrong direction and is not close enough to being on the field on Sunday against the Bills. Do you look at it as a step backwards? And is your concern level growing? Because we talked yesterday and Monday and said both times we're pretty sure Aaron's going to play this week. Well, we were pretty sure on Friday heading into Sunday, and it didn't happen. Maybe we're starting to get a little bit of an early situation here, a little early look at what's going to happen again in week 13.
Well, I'll start here with, Mike Tomlin's own words from his press conference yesterday. He said, "We'll start the week with great optimism, although we certainly will limit him in early portions of the week." The one other point here, or what is giving me some belief that this might not be a huge reason for concern, is that doesn't seem to be misaligned with those words from Mike Tomlin in his weekly press conference yesterday. Now, it is certainly not what you want to see, right? You would love to see him limited once again today, maybe tomorrow, full participant Friday. Those are the encouraging signs and progressions you're kind of hoping to see, all leading to him playing against the Buffalo Bills on Sunday. But I think for the time being, the first day of practice, the first, day in your sessions of getting ready, I'm okay with him not being a participant. It certainly is a beast of Mike Tomlin's own making because, as you mentioned a minute or two ago, it's about preparedness. It's about making sure he is having enough time, enough snaps, and has enough preparation in order to get back on the field. So you're certainly robbing him of a day by not having him participate at all. But if he still can't take snaps from under center, what good is he doing, on a Wednesday before the next game? So I have very minimal levels of concern because he's not participating or because he did not participate in practice today. What concerns me even more is this very clear statement of, I still can't even take snaps under center yet. Like that feels like a problem.
That does very much so feel like a problem. That to me, that's where it was like, oh, okay. Like, where we're sitting today, it's hard to imagine Aaron Rodgers taking the steps forward that Mike Tomlin laid out, that everybody else seemed to lay out on getting back to the field and being able to play on Sunday, because they held him out. The Steelers didn't hold out Aaron Rodgers, watch Mason Rudolph go out there and ball out and said, you know what, dude, why would we rush him back on the field? No, the Steelers chose to sit Aaron Rodgers, watched Mason Rudolph go out there and struggle, acknowledge Mason Rudolph's struggles after the game, watch the Baltimore Ravens surpass them in the AFC North. There is nothing that should say in that facility, let's take this thing slow just in case. No, if Aaron's good to go, they're going to put him on the field. I think there's genuine concern that he really is, like you said, he can't play football right now. He can't be on the field. And if you can't be out there, well, the Steelers aren't going to put you out there. What do you need to see from him for the rest of the week? I look at it a little bit differently. Like, I look at it like if he was held back in the beginning of the week, missing practice to me is still a concern. I feel like there's differences there. But in your perspective, what do you need to see for him for the rest of the week to be able to go that gives you confidence that he still could go?
I think, and this is, I'm not the medical expert here, would love to hear from the team's medical experts as to what their bar is here. But I think the thing that stands out is that cast has to come off. He said after practice today, or confirmed that, he has been wearing a cast on that non-throwing wrist. And I think that, if I have to guess, seems like the likeliest culprit for why taking snaps under center is so impossible right now. So I would need to see that come off, some other brace, air cast, insert the proper medical terminology on that non-throwing wrist instead. Or I would need to hear, from Tomlin, from Rodgers, hey, we're going to take it off on Friday or Saturday, prepare it and brace it, tape it up for Sunday, and then we'll go from there. Unless I see that, I think we're left in this sort of limbo, this in between of like, he should be ready to play. They keep saying and alluding to him being ready to play, but if you can't snap the ball, that's a really tough part about playing the quarterback, because you got to take every snap. So you gotta do it.
No, I agree. I could see a step back in the cast. My only comment there is, I never broke a wrist, okay? I've broken bones before.
Yeah, me neither. So I don't know.
Yeah, like, does it heal that fast in a week? Are you good enough to drop a grade of cast? This isn't like you said, this isn't an air cast. This is a full-blown 11-year-old fell off a scooter cast. And that is, to me, like, that's a whole procedure to take that thing off. You're going to go do that on Saturday? No, I feel like if it was going to happen, he was going to show up today and he was going to be good. I view right now, I think Aaron Rodgers is a very concern. I do not see him as the most likely quarterback to start for the Steelers on Sunday against the Bills. I want to dive into Mason versus Will here and what to expect. But I also want to say, and kind of finish with this one, if Aaron doesn't play, do your chances for the Steelers turnaround here just drop significantly? Like, the Steelers are a half game back in the AFC North now. We have flip-flopped the conversation from, well, you can't give up because you're in first place of the AFC North, you're still a playoff team, to you are now playing catch up to become a playoff team. Does their chances of making the playoffs, I mean, how close do they get to evaporating without Aaron Rodgers out there on Sunday?
They're absolutely effed. Like there's no, this game is unwinnable in my opinion. If you are starting Mason Rudolph or Will Howard for that matter. I would much rather see Will Howard before we get into that conversation at this point, but doesn't matter. Either of your two backup quarterbacks starting or playing the majority of this game against the Buffalo Bills, put it in for an L. Rest of the season, you're done. You have lost so much ground so quickly. You have so rapidly descended into another Steelers downfall, another what's the word? Another disparage, like a despair. Join me in this pit of despair that is the Pittsburgh Steelers end of their seasons. Yes. And you just have to hope that maybe they could salvage something in December. But I just don't think, if you don't have Aaron Rodgers available for this game, your chances of making the playoffs just take a huge hit, because you're going to lose and be 6-6, and you don't know what Baltimore's going to do on Thursday. So you might be staring down, you might not be in second place just based off of divisional record anymore. You might be in second place down by a full game. You might be, and then all of it again, like the 180 that has happened for this Pittsburgh Steelers team in the matter of 5 or 6 weeks is absurd.
Super absurd. I kind of saw it coming, but super absurd. But I agree with you. Aaron not out there. I mean, Aaron's the hope for the Pittsburgh Steelers here. That's the guy that's going to lead this offense. That's going to slow it down. That's going to keep your head above water in times where you are just trying to tread here. And I feel that without him out there, it gets dangerous. Now we're going to talk Baltimore Ravens and Bengals, because there's somebody already has a question here. So I want to get into that later in the show, because I mean, Lamar's hurt. Joey B's back. Mr. Cool's going to be on the field. You never know what's going to happen. But I do not feel good about the Steelers' chances without Aaron. That being said, who will start over him? Mason Rudolph or Will Howard? The realistic answer is Mason Rudolph. The hopeful answer is Will Howard. I don't know how you're the Pittsburgh Steelers and you don't walk into this game. I'm not saying that I don't know how you walk into this game without giving Will Howard the starting job. What I'm saying is how you don't walk into this game without putting Will Howard or putting Mason Rudolph on a leash, on a very short leash for Mason or for Will Howard to come back in. I also have a question. Did your dog just vomit next to you?
No, but she did make a very, she stretched. And so she's dramatic. Loretta, come here. Loretta, come here. Not you, Eleanor. Loretta, come here.
I was pretty positive that she just yacked right next to you.
No, she's fine. She's fine. She's fine. This is Loretta. She's on the pod today. She's not. She just is she's a little stinker.
Nice.
Do you have anything to say, Loretta, today?
No, nothing. She's just as pissed off
All
as
right.
the Pittsburgh Steelers and everybody else.
Can you not make that noise anymore? You're kind of interrupting the pod. Okay. Love
you. Shout out to Loretta, dude. Shout out to Loretta.
Loretta. She's such a mischievous little puppy.
She's just chilling. I don't think that Mason starts. However, I don't know how you go into this game without Mason on a leash to say, if this doesn't look good early, we are putting Will Howard out there, because I just don't think that you owe anything to Mason. And at the same time, you got to win these games, and you can't have a bad quarterback out there to win these games. Do you think there will be a leash? Do you think that, I mean, unless you think Will Howard's going to start, but do you think there will be a leash?
I think realistically, I don't think there's any way, or there's any scenario that transpires that isn't Mason Rudolph being the starting quarterback. You have to have a short leash. His performance, was it good? No. Was it the worst quarterback performance in the history of the Steelers? No. Was it enough to convince you that you need to ride with him for another week? Not at all. You have this talented guy that you have a chance to possibly evaluate. Yeah, I think the leash for Mason has to be not only short, but just, um, unreasonably short, unfairly short to him. If there is
Mhm.
any inkling that you can go and give Will Howard a shot here against the Bills, I say do it. And the number one reason why I think so is because do you know where the Buffalo Bills rank? That sounded like my dog did just yak, but she's good. Thanks, girls. Um, do you know where the Buffalo Bills rank in rushing defense this year?
Dead last, I'm gonna say. Very
They're
close to
30.
it.
They're 30th. So
Yeah.
you're not awfully wrong. And rarely do the Steelers take advantage of, teams' weaknesses like this. But if you're going to play a rookie quarterback, playing him against a bad running team, because they're, admittedly a pretty solid passing defense, but playing them against a poor running team might be a solid way to introduce a quarterback into the NFL. I don't know.
I feel the same way. This is not the Buffalo Bills team that brings a bunch of fear to their opponents. This isn't the Buffalo Bills team that, what was it, 4 years ago now? How long's Kenny Pickett been in the league? 4 years? It was 4 years ago when we were talking about when do you start Kenny Pickett because you don't want to start him against the Buffalo Bills. I remember that I remember those moments, and this is not that Bills team. I would start Will Howard against this Bills team and feel pretty okay about his opportunity. I don't think that he'd come out here and ball out, but I do think that, look, if you're going to ease his way into the NFL, it's not Baltimore. You don't want to say it's next week when Mason stinks again and you go, you're going to start against the Ravens. Welcome to the AFC North. You're probably going to get your butt kicked and it's going to hurt real bad. Welcome. You don't want that. You're going to wait till Aaron will be back by Miami. I truly don't know how you go into this game without the shortest, like you said, unfair leash for Mason Rudolph, because you have to be able to pull him at any moment. And truthfully, you don't owe Mason anything right now. Mason's not a guy that should get an opportunity. Do you think that there will be any split reps at practice this week once they, from my understanding, okay, this is just my understanding. This is not fact. This is just how I see the situation, talk about the situation, so on and so forth. The Steelers expect to know if Aaron's going to play before Sunday. I don't know if that means Friday. I don't know if that means Saturday night again. I have no idea. But they expect to know before Sunday if he's going to play. Do you think that if they know soon enough, there actually will be some split reps between Mason and Will, just enough to get Will a little bit ready?
I want there to be. I don't think there is going to be. I think this is going to be another frustrating sort of thing where the fan base and maybe a lot of other people outside of the organization are saying and in a consensus about how they should proceed without Aaron Rodgers, but I just cannot see the Pittsburgh Steelers agreeing with that. I think Mike Tomlin rides with Mason Rudolph, and Mason Rudolph is the guy, but still has that very short leash for him come game time here. So I would be shocked. And verify for me, brother, like nothing to make note of today at practice with Rodgers on the field, right? So, I think there could have been this would have been a great day to do it with very little implications, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you could have just given him a nice day to run with the ones because it's an early in the week practice. You're not going through the very final walkthroughs that you might go through on a Friday, for comparison. And so I think you got this, you had an opportunity where you could have given him more.
Yeah.
Didn't do it. That's a little concerning. Would love to see him get some more reps tomorrow and Friday. I don't expect that to be the case. Do you? Am I wrong? I'd love to be.
No, I would love for you to be too, but no, you're not. You're not. It's very hard to envision Will Howard getting any reps before Friday, and he should get at least 30% of the reps to say, we just want to make sure that you got a baseline just in case you could go out there. And I truthfully think that he could. I got two for you today to end the quarterback conversation here. First one, what's your odds that Aaron plays? It's Wednesday, week 2 of doing this. We were so wrong on Friday. What's your What's your thoughts here? With more background now. I feel that last week was like week 1 of the NFL season where you're making bets that you don't really have any idea. We're week 6 right now. We know what's going on. The NFL has shifted. The Steelers quarterback situation has shown itself, does it change? What's your odds that he plays? Chance that he plays?
I think it's really low right now. I think we might be looking at another missed game, second in a row for Aaron Rodgers. I'm gonna go scale of 1 to 10. I'm going 3 out of 10 right now. I don't feel very confident. And I don't. I obviously I don't remember. Like we talk so much on here. I don't remember half the stuff I say 4 days later, to be quite honest. So I don't know how much conviction and confidence I spoke with last week, but I think I was pretty confident he was going to play.
Yeah. By Friday, we were both almost 100%.
Oh, and dude, just color me totally fooled in terms of going to practice, watching what happened, and thinking one thing would happen, and just getting the complete opposite of that. So I'm gonna go 3 out of 10. Not confident at all, though, in my confidence ranking.
Yeah, I think I sit right there with you. I think 3 is a magic number. I don't feel good about it at all. I feel that Aaron is not. I felt like last week the Steelers gave us no indication that Aaron was not going to play. Aaron was set to play. We went all week long, was convinced. This week, I look at it different. This week, it has nothing to do with what Mike Tomlin says, nothing to do with what the practice looks like. It has everything to do with the words of Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers' words were, I can't take a snap. And if you can't take a snap, you can't play quarterback. So I have a hard time believing he's going to right now. Week are a number 3 out of 10 is where I sit as well. Second one here. Your 1 to 10 odds that Will Howard does play at any point against the Bills.
This is a perfect puntori 4. Like there is I do really believe that regardless, like I stand by what I said over these past few minutes. I anticipate Mason Rudolph being the guy the rest of the week. If Aaron Rodgers does not play, Mason's the guy who will start. But it'll be a lot like that game. I think it was the New England game that Mitch Trubisky was the starter before Kenny Pickett came in at home. And you could tell, you were everyone knew as soon as Mitch made one mistake, he was Dunsky. And that's what happened. And that is what I would foresee being the path to getting Will Howard on the field, something very similar for Mason Rudolph. So I'm going to go 4 out of 10. Trending in a good direction is how I look at that.
I like your 4 out of 10. I'm going to raise you 4.5 out of 10. I'm not a 50-50 yet. I'm not even close. But 4.5, I'm feeling like I feel like you only get one strike in Pittsburgh, unless you're a 36-year-old corner, you get one strike in Pittsburgh or Russell Wilson. If you're Russell Wilson, you get a lot of strikes.
Let's ride
for 5 straight losses. I think that Mason gets one strike. That's all he gets. And the next time it even looks like the beginning of a strike, I could see Will Howard going out there and the Steelers saying, let's see what happens. All right. That's quarterback talk for the day. Let's finish off our agenda by doing a little bit of what's more likely as we head into a good old holiday break tomorrow. I'm going to send it over to you. What do we got?
I got a couple for you today. And I think we should just do one more quarterback conversation. Just real quick, and then we'll move on. I promise. Look, I don't know what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers, but we both agree the Steelers need him. I just want to know if there's any chance a quarterback is going to do anything special for the Steelers this Sunday. I want to know if it's more likely that the Steelers throw for under 175 yards, or if it's more likely that they will throw for over 300 yards, regardless of who the quarterback is for the first time this season.
No, it's easily more likely that they throw for under 170. Well, you have to throw beyond the line of scrimmage to hit once. Even Mike Tomlin went to his press conference yesterday and said, you want to know what might be a useful part of the field? The middle might be useful. And everybody sat there like, what did he just say? Are pigs flying? I can't see because there's no windows, but I think pigs are flying. Crazy for him to admit that. it fully acknowledges in my head that nothing's going to change, but he is starting to realize there's a 7-step process and the Mike Tomlin makes adjustments. You know what I mean? Like there's the 7 baby steps to whatever. There's how to do there's the 7 steps of Tomlin change. You know, step 1 is to hammer it into the ground that you do not need to do this at all. Step 2 is slightly acknowledge it in some formal setting. Step 3 is denial again. So we haven't even gotten to the second denial. You know, we're still a long ways away from anything changing. 180 yards is very feasible. 300 is impossible. What's more likely, unfortunately, is that it's going to be less, not more.
Yeah. I do agree with you on that one. That is for sure. Here's a more just somber one, you know, maybe not. I think there's a lot of conversations, not just, you know, here on All Steelers Talk, but there's been a lot of chatter about, you know, what's the fan reaction going to be for the Pittsburgh Steelers and for Mike Tomlin come Sunday, especially if things do not go well.
Yeah.
Loretta killing me. I'm wondering if you think, you know, you'll be there. Do you think it's more likely that some fire Mike Tomlin chants erupt, or do you think it's more likely that the frustrations become aimed at a coordinator, a fire Austin chant, a fire Smith chant? Who's more likely to get just ridiculed by the fans here?
Can I throw you a curveball? And I don't know if I'm allowed to do this, but can I throw you a curveball?
Please.
I think bench Mason chants emerge before either of those. I think we get a bench Mason chant before we get anything else. I think fire Tomlin is the last thing that would come. I don't think we're close on the fire Tomlin yet. I just there's a large chunk of the fan base that still believes in Mike Tomlin. You know what I mean? And rightfully so. I get it. I don't think that if you're going there on a Sunday, like you're ready to fire the head coach. You fire TA chance potentially, fire Smith chance potentially, bench Mason chance. I could already envision them. I can envision them after the first play of people just being like, get him off the field, put Will Howard in right now. And Mike T chants are still in my eyes very far away, which is crazy, but very far away.
Very far away. I think that's a telling statement there. I don't know if I agree, but that's a-okay. I think the bench Mason things. Oh, no. I think you saw my bet and you raised me a better one here with the bench Mason chants. Those are absolutely the ones. I don't think fire Tomlin chants are that far away.
Oh,
and I just don't, you know, I think, I don't know if the season ticket holders are the ones chanting it, but I think there's a lot of folks in that, you know, in that 60, 65,000, however much Acrisure holds.
Yeah.
There's some fans getting through that are not too pleased with Mr. Tomlin.
I think that there is the realization that once a fire Mike Tomlin chant starts, it's over, you know, like that's the end, because you can't get fire your head coach chants and keep your head coach. And I think people understand that. So I think there's like a very strong side of caution. You know what I mean? It's like people want to do it. They're sitting there being like, fire Tomlin, fire Tom. But then they're like, all right, do we really want Arthur Smith to be our head coach right now? Are we really okay with that? Is that what we're looking for? I think there's some back and forth, but I'm not going to say I hope you're right. I never want anybody in the NFL to lose their job. Content wise, if that happened, we might have to do an emergency live stream mid-game. That might have to happen.
Easily. That would be crazy. If there was documented proof, because, you know, again, on the Twitter sphere, you know, there's always there's like, oh, I heard fire Tomlin chants in 5-11 this game. And it's like, okay, well, that's not, you know.
Yeah. If I hear it through the glass wall, that's when you know it's real. That's when you know it's real.
3 Inzers all named Donnie spelled 3 different ways yelling fire Tomlin is not going
super drunk
to elicit a response. Yeah, it's like
one of them shirtless in November, and they're just like, "What are we doing? What are we doing?" Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. So I get you, but I do think it's closer than maybe you think, and that's okay. I have another, I guess, bigger one that I might be sad as well, and I just want to knock it out. And there's no way to just like make this sound better or lead into it. Do you think it's more likely that the Steelers will have a losing season, something you've talked about before, or win the AFC North? Very simple.
Oh, oh, this is a good one. This is a really good one. I'm not 100% convinced that the Steelers aren't going to win the AFC North. I'm also not convinced that the Steelers aren't going to win the AFC North at 8-9, which is terrible, but that's what happens. It's not that the Steelers have reclaimed the North. It's that Lamar Jackson is beat up. That is what is happening right now. Oh man. I think what's more likely is that the Steelers have a losing record than they win the North. That could change tomorrow night. I think it's equally as likely that they do both, but I don't. That's you'd have to win. Like Buffalo is a tough one. Detroit's a loss in my eyes. You're going to lose one of them to Baltimore. Like you got to win the other three just to pull off a win. I can't say that that's definitely going to happen. I can't. It's I'm gonna go losing record. That sucks, but I'm gonna go losing record.
A tough one. I didn't put you in a good position. I get it. Shoot the messenger. I get it. let me drop one more on you here if you don't mind. And just keep in mind that the Buffalo Bills are the 5th highest scoring offense this season, averaging 28.3 points per game.
That's good.
It's great. But every once in a while, the Steelers defense does something ridiculous this year. It doesn't happen every week. They are as inconsistent as the definition of the word is. But maybe this is the week that they just go crazy once again. Do you think it's more likely that the Bills just go crazy, go off? And I'm talking 35 plus points, right? Like 35 plus good offensive game. Or do the Steelers have 4+ turnovers in the unlikeliest of contests?
Oh my gosh, dude. You're killing me. You're killing me because I have done this one before. I have sat in this seat and I've done this one before. And I could picture there are so many games in my head just replaying of it. Just like I could picture me saying Steelers are going to have one crazy defensive game here. One crazy defensive game. And then I'm in Philadelphia and the score is 42-10. I'm going, that was not it. That was not it. Or I'm in Buffalo and the score is 42-10. You're going, that one wasn't it either. That was not what they were looking for. This sucks. This sucks so bad. This sucks so bad.
This sucks.
I think that it's more likely that the Bills just go off. I do. That sucks, dude. That sucks. I just don't have. If this was 4 games ago, I'd be real into the rebound. I'm not real into the rebound right now. You got to prove something to me before I could justify that you're going to bounce back. And Buffalo is a good team that just had a bad loss, which means that they're not going to have another one. Buffalo's not going to have another bad loss. The problem is the Steelers can have 6 bad losses, and that's just normal. Buffalo having 2, not normal. Not normal. That one sucked. That one sucked worse than the losing season. I think it's going to be Buffalo having a crazy game.
Dude, yeah. Okay. Fair enough, man. Brutal. I apologize. I felt, I guess, more like a Sith Lord in my sweater with those ones than, a Jedi, but here we are.
I don't know what either of those things are, but shout out, my guy. All right, is that your 4-pack? That's what you got for us today?
Yeah. I know we got questions to answer. We're butting up on time here, so I'm good.
All righty. With that said, guys, we're going to take a quick break. On the other side of it, we're going to come back with some positivity questions. So if you got them, toss them in the chat. We'll be back in 60 seconds. What's up, AST Nation? I've teamed up with DraftKings. The next great touchdown is coming, and you can bet on it. And the best way to do so is through DraftKings Sportsbook, where new customers bet $5 and get $200 if your bet wins, paid in bonus bets. It's almost playoff time, which means now is the perfect time to keep it trucking. Love the thrill of live betting? DraftKings has got you covered. Bet live on in-progress games right as they happen. Then use your bonus bets to stay in on the action and bet DraftKings same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. And don't worry, if sports betting is not yet available in your state, you're fine. You can still join in on all of the fun with DraftKings daily fantasy sports and have the shot to win cash prizes. New customers bet $5 and get $200 if your bet wins, paid in bonus bets. Sign up using my promo code ALLSteelers and get in on the action. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. All righty. A shout out to our members. Shout out to our super chatters. Can't thank you guys enough. If you didn't check it out, to those of you who called into the call-in show today, super big thanks to you guys. And before we get going, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Can't thank you guys enough. We're gonna kick it off with macaroni. Whoa,
what is that, dude?
Yeah, how's this? What is happening right now? Jacob in his hoodie, ready for the show. I think I figured it out here.
The show.
There we go.
Yeah.
Ready? There it is. There. Shout out to Mac. I didn't even click, dude. Didn't even click. That's shout out, my guy. Shout out to Macaroni Salad, dude.
Back to our roots today.
Yeah, for sure. Macaroni Salad once again. Will Howard, Maddie. What are your thoughts? She's got our thoughts here. Maddie, hey Noah, what are your chances of Will Howard actually starting? And do you think they still trust Rudolph? We talked about Will Howard's chances starting. I don't think they're very good. Do you think the Steelers are losing trust in good old Mason Rudolph?
Losing is a very interesting choice in words. I would say don't mistake convenience for trust.
Oh,
there's not a lot of trust, right? Like maybe there was a shred of it last week, right? And that's why they let him throw that pass in the first offensive series. But as soon as that ball came down and it was Chicago Bears possession, they were like, oh my God. Mike Tomlin was like, I hate this guy so much. No, there's not a lot of trust there, if you're asking me. That being said, a rookie quarterback has even less trust to Mike Tomlin, less trust from Arthur Smith. And because of that, the convenience of Mason Rudolph kind of wins out. But don't mistake that for trust.
That is a beautiful line, my friend. That is a beauty. Look at, I don't know if it's the Carnegie. Did I say that word right?
With a D?
Carnegie, right? Carnadin?
What?
What?
No. Cardigan.
There it is. I don't know if it's the cardigan. I don't know if it's the food that you're about to prep and go into straight dad mode tomorrow. I have no idea what it is, but that was wise, my friend. That was wise beyond the years. I don't want to add anything to it because I think that's beautifully said, and I agree with all of it. Two girls, one duff. What? I'm late. What the heck? The F happened to A-Rod? Is A-Rod officially out? What happened today? Back on self-harm watch. It's a tough time, brother. Tough time. Hope we could talk you off the ledge. I mean, not A-Rod admitted that he still can't. Alex Rodriguez. Aaron Rodgers admitted that he still cannot take a snap, which is, not a great thing to be able to not be able to do when you play quarterback, and then did not practice today. And it is quickly looking as if A-Rod may not play this week against the Buffalo Bills. Terrible time for the Pittsburgh Steelers. ND Joe, if in the moment it looks bleak, why not take the regulator off the war machine and see what the rookie has? I'm not saying start Will Howard, but if Mason Rudolph looks like crap, we send Will in. Happy Thanksgiving, AST. Shout out, my guy. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your family as well. I hope it's a good one. How early do you think it could happen? Hypothetically speaking, how early do you think it could happen?
Second quarter. I wouldn't expect it. And again, I will stand by a belief that there is limited trust, that there is a short leash, that there is even a willingness and maybe a motivation to get Will Howard into the game. They just won't, bend over backwards and force their way into putting their 6th-round rookie onto the field. But, again, if they go out there, they punt the ball 2 times in the opening quarter, or they punt the ball and turn the ball over in the first quarter, Mason's out of there, in my opinion.
I think if Mason turns the ball over on the first drive, Will starts the second drive. I think that's how.
I think that's
how
a fair. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's how quickly. I don't think he'll have any leash at all. I think there's a real possibility it's going to happen soon. Dougie frustrated, more likely. Noah goes for seconds on turkey, or he shaves his beard. Hope you have a great Thanksgiving, my guy. Hope you have a great Thanksgiving as well. Man. This is easy. I would 100%. See, okay, so here's the thing. When you're going up for seconds, you almost feel equally as obligated to get that second piece of turkey because there's so much there. And you're like, this is gross, but like nobody wants it. You don't go for the second piece of turkey?
Not until later that night or the next day.
You go seconds immediately?
I mean, if there's enough and everyone's been served, yes. I mean, my mother would have slapped, and still I think will, if I do this tomorrow, will slap the ever-loving SHIT out of my mouth if I were to take seconds before everyone had been fed once.
Yeah. Could you imagine how fast you'd have to eat? It's Thanksgiving dinner.
Dude, I remember one time one of my cousins got yelled at so bad by my grandma when we were kids for like trying to take too much food, you know, because we're Italians. And I just remember her calling him a piggy, and I was like, that's the worst insult I've ever heard in my life. That's crazy.
Especially
I'm not going back up for seconds immediately, but I will go back up pretty soon, and I'm just probably getting the sides that I want. And then later that night, a little midnight snicky snack. Tomorrow, the day after Thanksgiving, and I'm making a little leftover sandwich. There we go. That's when the turkey comes back into play for me.
Dude, I usually can't eat the next, like everybody says, like next day sandwich is the best, and they're not wrong. But the heartburn that I wake up with on Friday morning is like I can't go back to it. I can't eat anymore. It's salads for 2 days after Thanksgiving just to make sure I don't have a heart attack. It's crazy times. I think it's the caffeine intake. That being said, yeah, it is seconds on turkey. I can't shave the beard, guys. I look ugly under the beard. I think nobody even knows what can't do it. Tacoma, remember, NFL is for entertainment purposes. I'm doubling down on my Super Bowl appearance bet. You guys rock. Happy Turkey Day from the Taco Man. Oh, not Tacoma, Taco Man. My guy, dude. My bad.
Tacoma boy.
I read things so fast, and I have to keep the lighting down on my laptop so it doesn't glare in my eyes. So like I'm like, you know, things are moving a little bit as we're doing this. It's fine. Shout out my guy. Yeah. Super Bowl appearance, dude. What's your 1 in 100% chance that the Steelers could make the Super Bowl still?
11. And that's probably generous.
Who
is that
11? He goes
11%
chance.
I think there's an 89% chance they do not make the Super Bowl. How about that?
Okay. I feel like I have to go higher, even if I don't necessarily believe this, just to retroactivate what just
speak from your heart.
How smooth that was. I'm gonna go 26% chance the Steelers make it to the Super Bowl. 11 was it was so fast. You know what I mean?
If you could have answered honestly, what would you have said? Or if I had given you time to answer, what would
if I'd answer honestly, I'd say 0. You know, like I'd say there's I truly don't believe that, you know.
No, because they're not good.
No, yeah, like that's the problem, dude, is that I just don't feel that they are that team right now. Artisanal Bully Kennel, the fire chant is deadly in this town, and I'll tell you why. I went to a Pens game, and they chanted to fire the AC at the end of the game. Next morning, headlines was the coach was fired. # start Howard. That's what I'm saying. I think that once fire Tomlin chants start one time, there's no going back. He's fired. There's he doesn't save his job. There's no turnaround from there. If fire Tomlin ever explodes over Acrisure Stadium, Mike Tomlin's job is gone, because what else are you doing? If you're the owner, you're sitting there listening, going, tickets, people are leaving games early. our team isn't that good, and now the fans are making it abundantly clear that they want this guy gone, but we're going to keep him. No, you just can't. It's once that starts, it's over. I don't think there's any turning back from there.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, I certainly agree with there is a power to the Pittsburgh fan base voicing their opinions that maybe other fan bases do not carry such weight. I imagine, and I could easily be wrong about this because I'm not actively around these markets and these teams, but I imagine there's a lot of fire X coach, get rid of X player chance in a New York Jets home game. Probably in one ear out the other, right? Because that's just like a regular thing. I imagine at PNC Park, anytime you're there, there's probably something about like get rid of nutting, sell the team, right? Like there are some chants that feel endless in certain stadiums, but I certainly, I remember the Fire Matt Canada stuff.
Whew.
It was in the works for months before. The writing was on the wall as the day after he was hired that he was not a good fit, but it reached a fever point right around this time. Artisanal Bully Kennels is referring to here, and I think that that power, that voice, does facilitate some change.
I agree. Andy Joe, hopefully no Turkey Day cramps coming from our running backs this year. Shout out to Najee, dude. Yeah, it was just this banana bread thing that Pat's girlfriend made. I heard it was good though. I heard shout out to Pat's now fiance, who I've heard is a hell of a cook. Hell of a cook. Shout out to Najee Harris, man. Hope he's doing well. Hope he's doing well. Lance, anybody see Lamar is hurt with the toe injury? So there's my question for you, my friend. I think the Bengals are going to beat the Ravens tomorrow.
I can see that. Joe Burrow's coming back. He's going to be wearing he's going to be dressed in like a gobble turkey outfit.
Dude, with his luscious hair. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a hair guy. You know what I mean? I got the hair. I rock wild haircuts. His hair is so ugly, dude. So if I could say one thing to Joe Burrow, truthfully, it is pick a different hairstyle, brother. It's just not it. I don't even know what it is, but it's not it. It's not it. Besides that, I'm all about it.
I can see his hairstyle reminds me of like Justin Timberlake and NSYNC. Like that's
a little bit, but like worse, Like
I don't say that as a dig. I don't say that as a criticism. Like that, those guys were on top of the world. You know what I mean? So like I'm not trying to like yuck their yum here, but yeah, I could see the Bengals beating the Ravens tomorrow. Genuinely, I have no disagreements on that. Won't persuade me in a different direction in terms of how I view the Steelers and their chances in the AFC North right now.
I hope that Joe comes out and puts his helmet on, but keeps his bangs down and they just barely cover his eyes. That's what I hope. That's what I hope happens. Shout out to Joe Burrow, dude. No disrespect. Just, you know what I mean?
He's in his bad haircut.
It's in his what?
Is he in his emo era if he has like bangs down?
Dude, I don't know, dude. We all went through. I had the emo era. I mean, I had hair halfway down my back,
Yeah.
I rocked a man bun, which is the worst of the haircuts. And I did that for years.
You just admitted to that?
I did. And that's what I'm saying. I'm one to speak. I'm one to speak. Change the hairstyle there, brother. Change it up. Renegade Minka. Noah, listening the last couple of days and your take on Tomlin and the Giants. Does the Rooney family and Mara's close relationship make that more likely than not for Tomlin to leave? So Tomlin's got a no trade clause, which I think is significant. I do think, while I don't think a trade between the Giants and the Steelers would ever happen, okay, I do think that the level of respect between those two families does help things. Like Mike Tomlin's not getting traded anywhere with purpose. It's not, hey, we're going to ship him to Tennessee because they gave us the best offer so that he could coach an AFC team because we got a first round pick. No, like that's not going to happen. But New York could be a place where it makes sense for Tomlin. It makes sense for the compensation. It makes sense for New York. And there's a level of respect and you're not stepping on the Steelers' toes. I think all of it together helps. I do think, especially in these situations where the owners have to talk in this. This is not we just traded for a quarterback. No, you traded head coaches. This is significant. I do think that it helps. However, there are most owners know each other in the NFL. Like almost all of them have pretty decent relationships.
Yeah. They have annual meetings. They talk like that. I bet all of the dirty little secrets and stuff come out. Can you imagine? I'd love to be at an owners meeting just to hear what those disgustingly wealthy men and one woman talk about.
I want to be behind I want to be behind the doors. That's what I want to be when when Jerry Jones is like, I say we pay them less money. And
I think we should give more.
And then Mark Davis is like, guys, I think we have to pay him more money. And then I would love to see that. Besides that, I doubt anything productive happens at all, because you got all these guys are super old. So it's just a bunch of old dudes who are not like, oh, let's run the world. They're like, can I go back to my $85 million yacht now? Thanks. Leave me alone, guys. That's what's happening. It's a good time. It's a good time.
I could just crap on him forever. I love it.
Nate needs more salad. I got to know what Noah's best subject in school was, because it definitely was not English. Spot on, my friend. It was not. It was pretty much nothing. I was pretty good at absolutely nothing in school. Shout out to that. I was really good at not going to school. It's fantastic at doing that. Yeah, that was about it. And math. I made my way through the good old Valley View High School by doing almost nothing, but the teachers kind of, you know what I mean? They're like, this guy is like a little bit annoying, but he's not super annoying. You could tell he could be worse, and I respect that. And then I got C's. So shout out.
What do you think my best subject was?
History.
Oh, no, listen, I was a good student. Don't give me, you know what I mean? I was good.
I already knew you were. I already knew you were a good student, and history was I wrong? Am I wrong with history?
No, I was fine in history. No, I was great in English.
That's really good. That would be my second guess. Yeah, that would be my second guess for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah,
I always think I'm smarter than everyone else, so it really helped with it. In math, you quickly learn. You quickly learn in math when you're not, even if you maintain that superiority complex, right? Like I go into like a geometry class or a calculus class in high school and just be like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I can't even read this. But in English, you write real good.
You write real good.
Make your feelings known.
Yeah, for sure. I was actually I'm a much better writer than I am a speaker, so that was never the issue. Yeah, however, the whole school thing, yikes.
School's for fools.
School's for fools. But go to school, it's important. Maddie, Noah, and/or Jacob, if we'll get an uptick in reps, can someone post an update video the next 2 days? Yeah, for sure. As long as something's confirmed, we'll get it out. Certainly. And then we'll be back on Friday to break down the good old Pittsburgh Steelers Buffalo Bills game to see what's up there. Keystone Light, completely hypothetical. What happens if Mason gets benched, Will goes in and completely balls out for the rest of the game and beats the rest of the Bills game and beats the Baltimore Ravens the next week? Do you go back to Rodgers? This is a great question. The answer, there are two separate answers here. There is the Pittsburgh Steelers answer, and there is the Noah Strackmine answer. The Pittsburgh Steelers answer is Aaron Rodgers would return as the starting quarterback, and Mike Tomlin would say something along the lines of, if you got a Ferrari, but you just bought a new Lamborghini, would you drive the new Lamborghini? No, you'd put the Ferrari out there. That's what you would say, and you'd be totally wrong. The Noah Strackbine answer is Will Howard is 24 years old, which is Aaron Rodgers' age backwards. Start Will Howard. There's no reason to not. What's thoughts?
If that is the scenario that we were talking about after week 14, is that Will Howard has been excellent in 6 quarters of football. I would say keep riding the hot hand, right? Like if you want to get there, you have this 41-year-old who can take over at a moment's notice. And hey, he's healing up. Maybe this is just more helpful, right? He's healing up. He can't even take snaps under center. Maybe this is just a better way to extend the recovery and recuperation time for Aaron Rodgers. All this to say, if Will Howard balls out in any sort of capacity over this game against the Bills or against the Ravens, I think it really, you have to keep going with them. And I just think the Steelers, if they really want to win, you got to just keep going with whatever players are doing the best on the field. If it's your 24-year-old rookie, if it's your 41-year-old, 21-year vet, if it's Mason Rudolph, which it won't be, but if it's any, you just ride with them. You ride with them.
I agree. 603 Yinzer. Another reason I question Tomlin and Khan, they signed Kenny G instead of Rico Dowdle. Thoughts? Rico looks ridiculous. I was on the Rico train. I'm just going to make it known I was on the Rico train, and everybody told me that I was wrong. Everyone in the world told me that I was dumb for saying the Pittsburgh Steelers should sign Rico Dowdle, and now he is keeping me afloat in my fantasy football league. Shout out to good old Rico Dowdle. That being said, I'm not upset about it because I think Kenny G is a very good running back. And I think the Steelers running game is actually very good. And I think it could be better if they were better schematically and they stuck to their guns a little bit more. But I am not upset about Kenny G as a backup running back. I think Kenny G's been, if you average over 4 yards a carry as a running back, I'm pleased with your efforts. He averages 4.7 yards right now. I'm very okay with that. Very okay with that.
Yeah, I no doubting who's having the better year of the two, right? But does that happen? If Rico comes in here, he's still playing behind the Steelers offensive line in a timeshare with Jaylen Warren. Does the same production happen, in a different circumstance? Yeah. I'm not sure. What I do know is that Kenny G has been the second most targeted player in the passing game, has over 330 rushing yards as a backup. He has had, I believe, a 90 and 100-yard game. He's had a 90-yard game for sure.
And a 99-yard game.
And a 99-yard game. Thank you. So he's had great production, and he's been, I mentioned this on yesterday's pod, 294 yards after the catch. It's top 25 in the NFL, the entire NFL, not just running backs, the entire NFL.
I agree. I love the Rico Dowdle move for the Panthers. I'm not upset about the Kenny G one for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jeremy, wonder who looks better in practice, Mason or Will? It's really hard to judge a quarterback, but I mean, I would truthfully say that Mason probably looks better than Will does, just because Will gets scout team guys. So maybe this isn't a question that we actually answer. Maybe it's more of an explanation here. When you play scout team, a coach will come up to you and say, throw an interception. And you'll be like, why? Because I told you to throw an interception. And then you throw an interception. Or they'll say, you throw it to Jamar on this route, no matter what the coverage is. That's what you do. So it's really difficult to get a real look at a scout team quarterback. And that's all Will has played since he's come back, it's tough. It's tough to get a read. So I would say Mason, but I don't think that holds much weight.
No. And that's the really hard part too, is it's kind of the same reason why training camp can be such a deceptive time, is because you get to see things in a very controlled environment where there are, again, to kind of add on to what Noah was talking about here, like the Steelers are working on their game plan for their opponent, for the Buffalo Bills, right? So as they go into practice, they will be expecting the scout team, like Will Howard, to be acting like what they think the Buffalo Bills will be doing on Sunday. So that means if they're favoring certain receivers or something, like Khalil Shakir is their leading receiver this year, they'll work on routes that they think he'll run. They'll go through a bunch of different ways they think they can defend it, and then you'll see the scout team go through it. So yeah, it might not be, Will Howard might have 10 incompletions during that team period, right? But it's not necessarily an indication that he has taken a step back. He is not progressing. It's because he's serving a very specific purpose, much like Max Hurlman is, for example, right? And like being a player that is representative of someone else that they might face. So it's really difficult to judge. You need to see some reps with the first team on the offensive side of the ball to get any sort of grasp of what's going on, and even then it's a very limited view of what to expect on game day.
Agreed. All right, we got one for me, one for you here. I'll start off. Tyrone. Noah, be honest, you want Tomlin fired? I will be very honest. I don't want Mike Tomlin fired. I like Mike Tomlin. He's always treated me very well. I think that in the NFL, going through the down is not fun. I think as somebody who covers the Steelers, going through the down would get really boring really fast. So in a professional landscape, riding the roller coaster at least gives me something to talk about every day. And it's frustrating for sure, but it at least keeps you're not the Tennessee Titans, and it would not be fun to be the Tennessee Titans. Again, I also am always pro person over pro team in the NFL. I don't consider myself a fan of a team because I have to be unbiased when I report on them. And I consider myself fans of the people within that team. Mike T has always, again, treated me really well. And I would root for him. So my answer to this, while everybody would think it's a yes, is actually a no. Now, Jacob, to you. Tyrone, Jacob, do you think Tomlin can save the season?
That's a great question, Tyrone. Thank you. No, I don't. I don't think he can save the season. I think this is the straw that has broken the camel's back in terms of how far Mike Tomlin can go to salvage a season out of parts. He's been like this collector at a junkyard, being able to take all these stray pieces, put them together, and give you a product that is salvageable and useful. It just seems like the odds are stacked up against them, and maybe this is exactly the time that Mike Tomlin and a team under him thrive and come out of the ashes and rise again. Maybe that's what's in store for this team. I, however, do not think that is the case. I think that this team has just they went on their run earlier in the season. And I think now we're just kind of watching the descent, and maybe we'll get a couple more games to feel some hopefulness again. But I think we are largely seeing what this team is and where this season will finish. And it's not in the best place.
It's not in the best place. What a fun way to end the show. Shout out to Tyrone. Shout out to
Tyrone. This is the last one of the show. That's great.
That was the last one.
What are you thankful for, Noah? Come on, man. Give us something better.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. We do need to finish with a smile. I'll tell you. You want to know what I'm thankful for? I'm thankful that I chose to bitch on Twitter today. And I will never call anybody out by name, but I've had a lot of nonsense with businesses happen to me over the last 2 weeks. Okay. And I got a little fed up about it. I tweeted something out today, and the owner of that business called me and corrected it. And that is what I'm thankful for. That today I have an electrical outlet on my front porch for my wife's Christmas decorations that was supposed to be put up today. The electrician showed up, came up, realized that it was a one-man job. They had 3 guys with them, went out to the truck, came back inside, said, "Hey, guy, we got a big emergency we got to go to." Left. The schedule for the company called me, said, "Hey, we're going to have to reschedule you." I said, "Yeah." They said they got a big emergency at a restaurant. She was like, "No, there's no restaurant." I said, "Oh, awesome. Thanks. Appreciate it." I was pretty upset about it. Tweeted, and then he called me, and then they showed up and they put it in. My guy. That's what I'm thankful for. I'm thankful that my wife gets put up Christmas decorations on Friday. That's what I'm thankful for. What are you thankful for?
Wow. It's easy. I'm thankful for my wife. She's carrying our child. Come on, man. Can't be thankful for anything more than that. I'm happy as a clam.
Make me look like a jerk right at the end of the podcast here.
How about that? Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. All right, we do have 2 legit ones here. Pittsburgh Hornets. Who out of the Steelers do you think has the largest plate on actual Thanksgiving than on the field this weekend? I will say the largest plate I believe will be eaten by any Pittsburgh Steeler on Thanksgiving will be Y.A. Black.
Oh, do you think he belly sellies after he takes down his
I hope
obsessively
so.
large, or I don't even know what the right word would be, excessively large plate? Because how much can you feed this man? Not
I
enough.
hope so. I hope so. I hope he does. I hope he stands up and goes, oh, and then sits back down and continues to eat more food. That's what I hope happens. That's what I hope happens.
The gravity help.
Shout out. Steven, start bench cut, Jack Ham, Debo, or TJ Watt. I think I've answered something along the lines here before. All right, I got mine.
Go ahead.
I'm starting TJ. I know, crazy answer there. I'm starting TJ. I love Jack Ham, dude. I'm benching Jack Ham. I think if TJ had a better team around him, he would be just like absolutely I think he'd be one of the greatest players ever, no question. He would have surpassed the JJ level. And then I'm cutting Debo. Love Debo, but Debo to me has always been below TJ. Always.
I certainly agree with Debo below TJ. I gotta start Jack Ham. Just more success, team success, let's call it, rather than individual. I'll concede that, but you know what? Give me the Hall of Famer. Give me Jack Ham.
Where are you going with the rest of them? Bench cut. You got two more to pick here.
I gotta cut Debo. Cut Debo. I'm sorry. Please cut this out of the show. Do not let this go.
Clip it, send it right to the podcast.
Please don't.
James, I'll text him immediately. Hey, James.
Hey, Mr. Harrison.
This is what Jacob had to say about you. He also, off the show, said the word soft. I don't know if he was talking about you, but if he was, I could give his address. Yeah. I can just let you know where he lives. That would be awesome. I'll
bench TJ, cut Debo, and that's the worst. I feel terrible saying it.
I know. Never feels good at all. All right, guys. With that said, we're heading out of here. Thank you so much. And we want to take a quick moment and say thank you guys and have a wonderful Thanksgiving. We are so grateful for you guys as always. Cannot thank you enough for everything that you do for us and all the support that you show us. We're not here without you guys, and we always want you to remember that. We'll be off tomorrow. We'll be back on Friday. I hope everybody enjoys their holiday, spends plenty of quality time with their loved ones. Hopefully watches whatever AFC North team you want to win. Eat some good food, drink some cold drinks, and enjoy some football. We'll be back on Friday. With that said, subscribe to us on YouTube, youtube.com/All Steelers Talk. Check us out anywhere you get your podcast. Find all our work over the next couple of days at si.com/NFL/Steelers. And we'll be back on Friday. Enjoy another beautiful day in the Berg. Peace.